Hi guys. All right, it is Wednesday, and I am, as I do every week, sometimes not always in the same day, as I do every week, I'm coming with you live with some tips for your with your content marketing because I want you to be able to actually get clients from. I need to close a few windows apparently. I want to help you from your content. I don't want you just putting up content and expecting things to happen or wondering why it's not happening. I want you to actually be sharing content that gets you clients. Now, here's the email is an awesome way to get clients. It's got an awesome return on investment. Like, it sounds crazy, but so for example, $1 spent on email marketing, if you do it right, has a $40 return on investment. That's 4,000%. That's pretty, yeah, pretty impressive, right? So it makes me actually want to get better at my own email newsletter. So what I started with is researching it for you, bringing it to you so that you can know what to do in your business. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you 11 pro tips to help you kind of like check off on a checklist what to do to improve your newsletters, to make sure that they actually get delivered, that they are getting opened, and that people are actually buying from them. So this is not so much on topics to write about. This is more about tips, like, as far as like how to structure it, what to check for when it comes to making it more deliverable, things of that nature. So anyways, let's jump right in. All right, so 11 tips. Like I said, for every dollar you spend on email, if you do it right, $40 back. So again, content marketing is one of the most effective and affordable ways to get clients. It takes a little bit longer maybe in certain ways, but email's super effective. It's a great way to get clients. Not only that, 86 of people in business, 86% of them, not people, percent, 86% of business professionals, they say that email is their preferred method of contact with businesses because they opt into things. So email isn't dead, it's super effective, it's super alive. So it's something to definitely look into if you're trying to pick a platform, if you're trying to pick a place that's effective. If maybe a couple weeks ago when Facebook went down for 4 hours, that freaked you out and you're like, oh my God, I need emails. This is definitely for you to use the checklist. Again, if you prefer the text version, there's a link to the blog in the description. That way you can look through it at your own pace and use the just copy and paste the checklist to make it super easy. But I'll run through it here in the live because that's what we're here for those who prefer that. All right, so I have 11 tips. 6 of them have to do with the content of the email, and 5 of them have to do with more like the techie etiquette kind of things. So, number 1, the most important thing that you can do with your emails is write a great subject line. You have to make them actually open the email, of course, if they're actually going to, engage with the email. So, David Ogilvy, he's this really, legendary copywriter, and he said 80 cents of your advertising dollar is spent on your headline. And that's true with subject lines and emails. So, you need to make sure that you write it well. Not only that, that you avoid spammy language. Because if people see like spammy words in the subject line, they're likely to flag you as spam, and then that hurts your deliverability. So you need to write a great subject line, not just to help them open it up, but so that it actually lands in their inbox and continues to land in there. So what makes up a good email subject line? Again, in the blog, I have more detail that you can read through more carefully. There's no one perfect subject line, okay? There are guidelines to go by. So for example, keep the length of it less than 60 characters, because one thing you need to remember, more than 70% of people, when they check their email, it's on a phone. Your phone is this big. So we make sure that your email is really easy, your email subject line is easy to read on a phone. So keep that in mind. Keep the mobile audience in mind when you're writing these emails. Keep it short. And again, as you know, when you open your email inbox, the subject line cuts off after a certain point. Keep it short, 60 characters or less. Not words, characters. Include numbers is a really solid thing. 10 tips for, or only 25% of people do this. Numbers are really good. Adding an emoji, it's kind of a simple little hack. Research shows that it improves your odds of them opening it. If you're using like an email service provider, an ESP, add their name. Personalization is massive, and there is so many tools when it comes to email to personalize. I'll get more into that later. Add their name to the subject line if you can, if you can. Ask a question. As far as a format, curiosity is a great strategy. Like, did you know, or what do you think about X, or something like that. Promise a valuable tip or benefit inside. Make sure you actually deliver on it. Don't clickbait, because then that'll also get you sent to spam, and it's just not good manners. Um, and again, like I said, avoid spammy words. I have a little bit later in the list, I'll go through for a few of those. Um, but again, I can't emphasize this enough. Write a great subject line. It's so important in order to get them to read the rest of the email. The rest of the email does not matter if they do not open your email. So this is how you have to get them in there. I know people who spend more time on their subject line than they do on the body of the email or the body of the blog, whatever. Take the time to do the subject line well. CoSchedule, by the way, is a really good tool for this. I have it linked in the blog so that you can actually make sure that you have the right length, the right language, and specific types of words that are, more emotional or impactful, things like that. So the link for that's in the blog. Anyways, so number one, good headline, or good subject line. Sorry, different content format. Number two, make your email skimmable. So people don't read anymore. People read an email newsletter an average of 51 seconds. That's it, less than a minute. So what your job is to write your email for the skimmers. People who are coming in to cherry pick information that they want. No one's going to read it through long paragraph. You want to make it skimmable. It's really easy. Just use subheaders, bullet points, numbered lists, use pictures to break up the text, have white space. Make sure it's easy for them to just navigate and jump through. Your goal is not to get them to necessarily read the whole email. You are trying to make sure that you deliver value to them. So say that you're doing like a tip roundup and you have top 10 tips. Break out the tips with the 10 subheaders. You will see how I do it in the blog if you want an example. Make it easy for them to jump around and to access information, okay? Because even if they're in there for 51 seconds, make sure that they can get a value that they associate with you, and that's 51 seconds, and they will keep reading. So make sure that they're skimmable. I have other links to examples and helpful tips in the blog. Hi, William. Dan Kennedy. Oh, I'm sure that he writes them too, but Dan Olgivey is another one. So good subject line, and make it skimmable. 3, remember the 80-20 rule. This is a content marketing thing, and this is something that I have talked about before. I employ in my social media membership, things of that nature. And the idea is 80% of your content should educate, give value, or entertain. You're building trust, you're building a relationship, you are building reciprocity. And then the other 20% of the time, then you can sell. Now, work through the logic with me on this. If you turned on the television station and all they played was commercial, 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 you're going to change the channel and you're not going to go back to it. And it's the same with your newsletter, with your page content, everything. If all you're doing is just sell, 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 that's not providing value for them. You're not helping them, you're not educating them, you're not building a relationship with them. They're going to change a channel to someone else. So the idea with content marketing is 80% of the time to give them tips, to tell them stories about businesses that you've helped, and share articles that you come across that can help them in their businesses. You are basically building up the right to sell to them. You are demonstrating that you can give that value. So the same applies when it comes to your emails. You want to have the content balanced. So in my content membership, I always write 3 posts for them: an engagement post, a value post, and a sales post. I want to have them to have that balance of engagement, of giving value, things of that nature, to show that they are an expert in their field. Do the same in the newsletter. Your newsletter is not meant to necessarily sell. Your newsletter is meant to be consistent. Your newsletter is meant to build relationships and to keep you top of mind. And I'll get into this more and more throughout this through the blog, through the video. Balance your newsletter campaign. Make sure that you're giving them something to keep subscribing for, so they don't change the channel. So you can make this really simple. So the fancy term for it is content curation basically sharing links to other helpful places. So you can, if you come across you're a bookkeeper like a lot of my clients, you come across a video that's really good and helps people walk through, I don't know, reconciliation problem that that your clients run into. Just say, hey, I came across this. I've had some clients talked about it. Hopefully this can help you too. Here's the link, and if you need more information from me, click here. You can keep it simple. You're still providing value. Your name's popping up in their inbox. That's a great way to do it. Other value ideas, like for that 80/20 stuff. A link to a blog on your site. If you do that as an idea, you know what? Deadlines are a big thing with tax deadlines. When are the filing dates? They're not paying attention. So add that into your cycle. It's just like, okay, these 3 deadlines are coming up. Here's what you need. Reach out if you need help, things like that. So 80/20, balance your content. Build that trust so that when you do have something to sell, they're much more willing to open up their wallet and trust you and buy from you. So that's 3. 4, use just one CTA. Okay, so a CTA is a call to action. What you need to do in all of your content is tell them what to do next. Now, if you're doing a value post, like I said before, the call to action is click this link to see the video for this process. But if you want to do a sales email, great. And I know you have so many services to offer and so many products. Keep it to one. Keep it to one call to action. Don't tell them to call and to check out your services page and to do pick one. Pick one thing for them to do. Don't confuse them. Because if you focus on a single CTA, research has shown it could increase the click-throughs up to 42%. You don't want to confuse people. So when you're writing your email, keep in mind what's the one thing I want them to do after this email. Keep it to one call to action. And again, that could be schedule a call today, check out our new offerings at this link, watch the video here. You're telling them what to do next. You're keeping them in your world and you're making it simple. So number 5. So number 4, keep it to one CTA when you have your email. It'll improve your click-throughs potentially by a lot. Number 5, avoid spammy language. So, email filters get smarter every day. And there are certain words, you know what I mean. You open your inbox and you're like, oh, that email is spam. You just know it is. Because you see the formatting or the language. Email filters aren't stupid. They're picking up on patterns. So there's certain words that you should probably avoid if you're using an email service provider like MailChimp. I don't know if they do specifically because I use a different email provider, but some email service providers will help you scan for spammy words. So some of those words might be amazing, click here, dear friend, increase sales. Can you get the pattern? I had the fuller list on the blog. And also, don't type in all capital letters. That's also a no-no. Don't use 14 exclamation points at the end. That's also a no-no. Try to avoid this language. Bottom line, just remember, you are a person talking to another person. So talk like you would talk to a person. And again, I've said this before, if you have a hard time getting your personal, your normal voice, I guess, onto paper, if that makes sense, use a transcription app like Otter. So talk through it, and then the transcription will be in a much more natural format. Again, you're talking to a person. You don't have to be spammy, and if you're spammy, you'll actually lose the chance of being in their inbox completely, and they won't even see your email. So avoid spammy words. And also number 6, this is a really easy one and a really important one. Always, 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 always include a PS in your email. You want to know why? Because 90% of the time, readers will go to that first. The I just jumps right to the PS. There's just something about the way it stands out that we jump right to it. Always include a PS. Always make the most of it. Because again, they're on your email for, like I said, 51 seconds? That's how long the newsletter they read. So make sure that you capitalize on the places they're going to be reading. So put things in your PS that are beneficial to you. Make sure that, that's a core part of your 51-second strategy, right? It could be, saying I also have a blog about this. You can read more here. PS, if you want to get more help with this tip that I just shared, here's a link to my services page. There's a very simple little sale after you add a tip. You see how that works? But use the PS and include it. It's a really simple thing, but it's really good. So that's 6 content tips. Now I'm going to jump real quick into 5 tips on email formatting and etiquette. So that's all the content stuff. Now, you're going to think this next one is a content one, and it's number 7, be consistent. I know it sounds like a content tip, and it is. There, it's important, to, it builds trust, you stay top of mind, you keep your current or existing clients warm, which is actually way cheaper to do than get new clients. Anyways, but consistency also serves a purpose on the tech side. Now, here's the thing. Let's say someone signed up for your newsletter 3 months ago, and you haven't sent anything out, and then you decide, oh, I have a tip, I'm going to send something out really quick. They forget that they signed up for you. They see your email, you're like, I don't know who this person is. And then they flag you as spam and delete you from their inbox. And not only did you lose that one person, your sender reputation, like Google and all of those guys, they keep track of who gets flagged as spam. Your sender reputation gets hurt when that happens, when you get flagged that way. So consistency helps them to remember who you are and to not flag you as spam. And that's why it matters on the consistency part of things. By the way, if you're curious about a good rule of thumb for consistency, shoot for something between twice a week and once a month. You can, it depends on your business model and how you want and what kind of information you're sharing, but that's the general rule of thumb. Twice a week or once a month. You don't want to inundate them, because if you're emailing them, like 3 times a day, if you do that to my inbox, I'm going to get you out of there so fast. So it's just enough to stay top of mind, to stay in there, to stay familiar. So 7, be consistent. It'll help you stay out of the spam folder and be remembered. And then number 8, use your images wisely. Okay, so when you have an email service provider like MailChimp, they give you these beautiful templates, and they're so pretty and branded and Canva-y, and they're really, really nice. But here's what's important. You need to make sure that you don't use image-only emails, where it's just like, I don't know what to say. You can't use just image-only emails, because something you need to keep in mind for. Say that someone is reading their email at work. Well, in order to help prevent spam, sometimes there's image blockers on emails in work, and that means your beautiful image-only email has nothing. You're not advertising, it doesn't look good. So you have to find other ways. You have to make sure that you have native content in your email. So make sure that you don't have image-only email. Really, truly. Another one, this is a ticky-tacky thing. If you want to make sure your images are high quality, if you're including them, choose the PNG file over JPEG. PNG compresses better and has a higher quality. And by the way, of course, GIFs are absolutely fair game. They're a lot of fun, keep people engaged. Even though they're lower quality image, they're a lot more fun. People like them. Also, include meaningful alt tags. Again, I linked to a post that went more in depth on this on the blog. Alt tags are basically, if your picture doesn't show up, it's the text that shows up instead. So if the picture is blocked for some reason, like it didn't download or there is an image blocker, it's the text that would describe the picture. Now, here's the thing. You have to be the one to add it. And again, if you use something like MailChimp, you have a place where you can add this thing. It's important for lots of reasons, like, if someone is using accessible technology, like maybe they're blind and they're listening to audio, the transcription, I can't talk. They're listening to like the audio version of their, you know what I'm saying, right? Anyways, they obviously can't see the image, so the image is basically, description is narrated to them through the alt tag, right? So try to make sure that you include that, just, for this extra bit. And then also, when it's relevant, try and include charts and graphs. You can do really easy ones in Canva, super duper easy ones in Canva. People are very visual and it looks very professional. So try and do that if you want to like really bring a point home. So that's all I have to say about images. Use them, but use them wisely, and don't let that be the only part of your content. Make sure you have written content in there. And then 9, use a good email service provider. So again, if you're going to take email marketing seriously, you really want to use the tools to get the most out of it. You can't just like hit send on a Gmail list effectively for very long. But the thing about email service providers, ESPs, is they help you succeed in so many important ways. So personalization is a super important thing, and of course you have an email list. it'll include like a tag, like, it'll insert the first name from your email list so that it gets sent with the first name of everybody in the subject line. Isn't that beautiful? Not only that, but you can do segmentation. So, for example, um, you can break up your email list into smaller chunks so that your content is a better fit. So, someone who just found out about you, maybe you don't want to sell to them quite yet. Maybe you're still building up more trust and content, and that's a different list, different behavior than someone who's been following you for a while and is probably more ready to buy. You want to talk to them differently, right? You don't want to lose either of them by saying, like the wrong thing or like irrelevant things. So email service providers can help you test that. Not only that, but there's something called A/B testing. So if you're not sure which subject line is going to work best, what you do is you can run a campaign with both of them and see which one does better, and then lean in that direction as you continue to write. See, you can't do that with just like sending it on a list through your Google Gmail account. Um, there's so many, and then like it also helps you with like spam filtering. It provides a different IP address in case yours is not in a good place. All of these things. If you're serious about email marketing, look into them. There's affordable options, especially if your email list is small. You can even start out free with certain ones. But really look into that. Number 10, this one's important. Build an email list and do not buy one. Do not buy an email list. Do not buy an email list. You're going to have to build it. And I know it's frustrating and it takes longer, but here's the thing. It's not illegal to sell an email list. It's not illegal to buy an email list. But depending on where the people live, it's probably illegal for you to email the people on that list. Kind of crappy, right? So there's another element to it too. Someone who chooses to join your email list, they opted in. They made a choice. Someone who does that is way more likely to engage with you, follow you, and buy from you than someone who just gets a cold email blasted out to this list that you bought on a shady circumstances. And then if you do use that list, you need to be aware. Again, you shouldn't. Don't do it. But if you do, you need to be aware. It'll hurt your sender reputation. Because again, if you're sending cold emails to strangers, they're going to see it. They're going to flag it as spam. If you have a big list, a lot of them are going to do that. Gmail, the spam filters pay attention to that. It will hurt your deliverability. You need to pay attention to that. And certain, if you're signing up for something like MailChimp, they will ask you specifically, do you have a list, and where did the list come from? Because they don't want to hurt their email deliverability of their service. This is how important it is. So you need to build an email list yourself. The easiest way to do it is with lead magnets. Of course, I create those for bookkeepers. I have a whole list of ones that I can rebrand for you, design for you, you name it. I've even got templates that are like nothing. They're really affordable. I have the link to it on my on the blog as well, and down below. And then number 11. This one's important too. Remember how I said more than 70% of people, they check their email on their phone. So you need to make sure and double check that the email you send out is mobile friendly, that it formats correctly, that it reads well. It's really, really important, because if someone opens it up and they can't read and it's formatted too wide, you need to make sure that the images you send out, the formatting, whatever, that it's readable on a phone. Because again, more than 70% of people reading your email are going to be doing it on a phone. Easiest way to do it is just to once you finish your newsletter, just send it to yourself real quick and make sure that everything lines up. Okay, so that's my 11 for you. Okay, so write a great subject line, make your email skimmable, remember the 80-20 rule, use just one CTA, avoid spammy language, always include a PS, be consistent, use your images wisely, use a good ESP, email service provider, build an email list, don't buy one, and then check that it's mobile friendly. If you run through this checklist for all of your newsletters, again, a lot of these don't take much time to make sure that you're doing. If you run through this list, it will so heavily increase them landing in inboxes, getting read, and actually being acted on. It really will. And again, 4,000% ROI $40 for $1 spent, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's a very effective form of marketing. So again, that's my tips for you to really bring up the game of your email newsletter. And here's the thing, stay tuned. I'm actually working on newsletter content for you guys in a template format. It's still getting worked out, but stay tuned. I've got information on that that'll be coming out more on like my social media here in a little bit. And you just let me know how else I can help you. Of course, I've got the social media membership still rolling, still going strong. Link for that down below. You can get a free week sample. Otherwise, I will see you next week. All right? You guys take care. I'll see you later. Bye.